Hello and welcome to Blizzard Watch the podcast, which makes it sound like it's an adaptation of something else, but we've been doing the podcast for a while. I'm Matt. I'm hosting. With me this week are Joe and Liz, who are my fantastical co-hosts. And Liz,
does that make you the executive producer?
Sure. You could be that.
Why not?
I'll give you a title that I have no reason to be able to. But Liz, you wanted to talk to people really fast, so I'm going to throw it to you so you can do that.
Hello, listeners, friends, supporters, maybe, hopefully. We're about to start another Patreon pledge drive because, we're doing pretty well. The site is stable. It could be more stable. We're kind of on this borderline place. And so we are going to be asking in the weeks to come for your support because Blizzard Watch is made possible by listeners, by readers like you who support us on Patreon. Now, if you don't have the cash to support us, I understand. I've been there. I'm there right now. But if you can support us, any dollar amount helps. $1, $5, $3 gets you early access to these podcasts with the pre-show content. Like today, we talked a lot about Fallout. Super excited about Fallout right now. And $5 gets you ad-free access to the site. Now, we aren't totally relying on Patreon, but it has kept the site going at a really hard time because last summer we lost our ad partner. They'd really been keeping the site going, and we switched to a new ad partner, and it did not. They made some big promises about what we would be able to do that did not pan out, and now, right this second, we're switching to another ad partner, which has made promises that sound reasonable. We'll see how it works out. And right now, I don't believe there are any ads on the site while we're making the switch. But in the coming days, you should start to see ads. Hopefully, there'll be better ads. We're continuing to try someone who will put gaming-focused ads on the site, and we had been getting some ads previously that were a little trashy. I think that's the best word I can come up with to define them. So hopefully, we're going to get some better ads on the site. Get some things that are relevant and inoffensive. That's about the best you can do with an advertisement to kind of help the site going so all of our eggs aren't in one basket, so we aren't completely leaning on Patreon. If you are not a supporter, you'll notice that these podcasts also have advertisements. That has been a big help in supporting these podcasts. But yes, if you can give us support on Patreon, it's a huge help. Please go and support us. In the future, we're going to be doing our roundup we'll be reading all of the names of new supporters in Joe's announcer voice, which is always very exciting. And
you can't see it, but I'm giving thumbs up.
Yes, I hope you support us if you are able to afford it. And let's go do the show.
Now you made me want to do that thing. You hear the voice in chorus. We hope you like our show. I don't want to do that because I don't think we could get sued. I think that's pretty much public domain now. But
see, for whatever reason, my brain immediately went to "Let's all go to the lobby."
Yeah, or the Muppet one, which I'm not going to sing because if I start singing Muppet stuff, I will not stop. So it's really good.
Understandable, totally understandable.
But while I'm talking about how I cannot say no to the Muppets, this has nothing to do with that, but I'm going to mention it anyway. BlizzCon 2024 is not happening this year, which means it's not happening, because if it doesn't happen in 2024, it's not BlizzCon 2024. If they have it in 2025, it's not. They can't still call it BlizzCon 24. It's the year.
They could. It just wouldn't make any sense.
They must be stopped. But yeah, no BlizzCon this year. And I'm going to say I didn't see it coming. I didn't have it on my bingo card, yet I was not even remotely surprised. Does that happen to you guys sometimes where you're like, oh, yes. Yeah, that's not surprising.
Yeah, I didn't expect this, but somehow I'm still not surprised. Yes, this happens.
Yeah.
Y'all remember this. Blizzard didn't always do a BlizzCon every year. They would do one every couple of years whenever they had something to say. And then they got into this chain of doing a BlizzCon every year without fail, same time every year. You came to expect it. And this was not going to be a really exciting BlizzCon this year if we had one, because the WoW expansion will be releasing sometime before BlizzCon. The Diablo expansion will probably be releasing sometime before BlizzCon. So we'd get to BlizzCon and there wouldn't be anything to talk about. Either it would be too early to announce a WoW expansion or a Diablo expansion. Overwatch is kind of a big question mark right now. They don't really do expansions, and their last sequel went over like a brick. So we would have had a BlizzCon that was very light on announcements. Now, what I miss is all the social stuff. We aren't going to have, the big, a big social event. But I think maybe it's even better that we do not have a BlizzCon this year, because, it'd be a bunch of fuss and then there's nothing to announce. Of course, this year is the 20th anniversary of World of Warcraft and the 30th anniversary of Warcraft. I'm sorry if everyone out there now has to crumble into dust. I apologize.
I'll just make screeching noise in the background. You can continue.
But, maybe we don't need a BlizzCon to celebrate those things. Maybe we don't need a BlizzCon where we're going, raw Warcraft, yay! But also there's no Warcraft news to announce. Maybe that's kind of a buzzkill. And Blizzard has said they're still committed to doing BlizzCons in the future. And also they're going to be doing some other kinds of events to celebrate the anniversaries. And they're going to be participating in other gaming events this year. We've already had an announcement from Microsoft for their event that's kind of in conjunction with Summer Game Fest this summer, that they're doing, a big press event, and they've said that Activision, Blizzard, all of that content will be included. So we may get an announcement there.
We kind of knew that was going to happen too, right? Like, as soon as the writing was kind of on the wall for that.
I mean, last BlizzCon, we saw them show up. But Microsoft was actually there. So,
from a cost standpoint, it makes the most sense, because why hold multiple events when you can hold one event that has all of your holdings participate in it? So,
and has all of the excitement. I mean, Summer Game Fest is going to get a lot of people watching, and the Microsoft press event always gets a big crowd of viewers. So that makes perfect sense. Again, I'm not surprised, but this is not like something that's saying Blizzard isn't announcing anything this year. I don't think it's a doom and gloom thing.
No, I think it's going to be a pretty busy year, quite frankly. But the thing about it being a busy year is that the busy stuff happens before November. It's very rare. It's very rare that they do their big. Occasionally, they've done an expansion or something in the November-December period, but usually they try to aim for before that, and as a result, we're going to just sit around and talk about how cool the stuff we already have is. I mean, I'd like to, but that's not really what a convention is for. But yeah, so that's a thing that is happening, and I thought we should mention it, and we now have mentioned it. So now we can talk about Diablo 4 season 4. Is that where we are?
That is. We're at season 4 soon.
But as Liz pointed out, they still haven't done things like tell us what the season is.
Well, no, they have told us what the season is, and what the season is nothing. The season is called Season 4, Loot Reborn. So the whole season is basically the loot changes that we've already seen, which I think the loot changes are great. The loot changes are fantastic.
But it's not a story. It's not anything new to do.
I'm a little unenthused. I'm enthusiastic about the new system. I'm a little unenthused that it does not sound we're getting a whole. I don't know that we're getting anything else.
Well, we're getting. There's other things that are revamped besides loot. I should mention that the Hell Tides are getting a redesign.
Yes.
And it seems interesting to me, like the whole idea of you got a threat meter and then you kill enough stuff and you make things angry, and then the Iron Wolves show up to help you fight these things. And it's like, okay, this is interesting. I don't know that it was necessary. Like, I kind of feel like the Hell Tides did what they were expected to do, but I do still like to see them put some more development into things. I do like that.
I mean, Hell Tides aren't going to be static, I think is the thing. And they're also going to be in World Tiers 1 and 2. You used to have to unlock World 3. And that meant you had to get pretty far in the end game to get to Hell Tides. But now they'll be in the game from the beginning. You can jump in and participate in Hell Tides. And they're going to be kind of a progressive thing where they're going to get harder as you fill that meter and kill more things. And you'll have, new and exciting threats. So that is good. And we're also getting the Pit of Artificers, which is a sort of challenge thing.
Yeah, it's kind of like a challenging mode, but not quite.
Pit of,
Yeah.
Pit of Artificers sounds like something that Liz like throws all of her artificer characters that she makes for D&D into.
Oh well, we're done with this campaign.
Well, yeah. So many characters, too little time to play. And Dariel is coming to the game as an end game boss. She's going on the boss ladder. So yay for killing Andariel more.
Oh yeah.
Ooh. And you will also be able to fight alongside the battle the Iron Wolves. It sounds like it might be some kind of follower system. We don't know much about this.
Yeah, they're calling them. They're pointing out that they're mercenaries, which has it's a term that means something specific in Diablo. At least if you play Diablo 2. But I don't think they're using it that way.
Yeah, it has meant something specific. So, but it's So Diablo 3 had a follower system. Diablo 2 had a mercenary system. Diablo 1 also had a mercenary system. I don't know if it was called that. You could get hirelings.
Yeah, I think they just called them hirelings. Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know if this is going to be like it, or if this is just the Iron Wolves are going to help you out during Hell Tides.
Yeah,
so we may get some story and quests related to the Iron Wolves, but it doesn't sound like we're not going to get a big story splash like we have in previous seasons. And even those big stories in previous seasons, I felt have been a little disappointing. I mean, they're fine.
They're fine. I liked finding out stuff about Zoltan Kuhl, but
they weren't quite what was promised.
Yeah. Well, I'll say for season 3 in particular, to my mind, feels like how did I fall into the middle of Zoltan Kuhl's boyfriend drama? I don't understand. Like, there's a lot of stuff about my friend, and I'm sitting there going, I would have liked to have actually seen Zoltan Kuhl show up for this, and it's not like you don't have the voice actor. Because he's doing Mephisto right now. But yeah, I think that generally speaking, the stories have not been what we wanted them to be.
Yeah, I expected more, and the game gave us something that was very small. The stories have been pretty small. They haven't been bad, but they've been small. So, and this one looks to be even smaller if it's there at all.
Yeah.
So I'm very glad of all these loot changes coming in. They're going to be great. They're going to really simplify loot. They're going to make a better loot progression where you can upgrade things and keep things instead of, every time you see something new, I got to throw away my gear. I've got to rebalance where my legendary powers are.
You know what I found really annoying about it that I'm glad that they're changing? The fact that you felt like you had to carry like a golf bag full of magical items that were completely useless the second they dropped. Because their item level wasn't high enough, or they were not even, they were like blue. And so you had to carry them all the way back to town, throw them in a wood chipper, and then, head back out. It's like, this shouldn't feel like I'm basically gathering magical items to toss on a campfire. It really felt like, go out in the woods and get some twigs for us, Timmy. Hey, Zulntang, I want you to go out and get us some magical swords. Just get as many magical swords as you can. Just bring them in here. We'll turn them into dust. Thanks. Go do that. Because that's how it was feeling.
Yeah, I mean, it was just you'd bring in bags and bags of loot, and you would have to spend all of this time like looking at it. Like, okay, does this have the right stats? And they're streamlining stats. They're minimizing loot drops. So loot drops are going to be things you may actually want to do. You may actually want to equip. You're going to get less trash loot. And hopefully you can just less time sorting through your bags, more time killing demons. But yeah, I'm a little disappointed we aren't getting a story season theme.
Yeah, I'm going to hope that season 5, they come roaring back with something that's actually got a little bit of heft to it.
I do understand why they wouldn't have one, because the amount of work they've put into totally revamping the loot system is huge. This is a huge change to Diablo 4. It's a good change. It's a change they should have made before they launched the game, because the loot system was kind of a mess to start with. And Diablo 3 went through similar problems, and it's like, okay, you could have taken some lessons there and moved them forward. But good changes. Clearly a lot of dev time went into making this happen. But it does make kind of a light season as far as theming.
I'm going to ask you guys, do you think some of this is also related to the fact that they are working on the expansion?
I don't know.
Joe, what do you think about the idea that maybe they're not doing story for season 4 and maybe not for season 5 because they hope to have the expansion out soonish?
I mean, that's very likely what's going on. so I think that's the most likely case. I don't know that I think it's the smart way to do it, but so here's maybe this is just my fault and me with my expectations. I sort of expected there to be a bridge with when they announced the new season stuff between this and then, you know, each season continuing a story or giving you more of a story leading up to the expansion, and then the expansion having the story, instead of it feeling, I don't want to say hollow, but just not as deep as I would have liked it. Right.
You know, I'm really glad that I didn't have that idea, because now that I have that idea in my head, I'm more disappointed in the seasons.
Now do you understand where I'm coming from? I'm sorry. I had to share my pain with you.
Yeah. No, I get it. I never thought that's what they were going to do. And that explains to me why you've always been more negative about these than me, because you thought they were going to do that. And because it makes sense. Now that I'm thinking about it, that would have made sense. That would have been a good thing to do. Because they didn't do that.
A lot of the ways they presented Diablo 4 before it was released, and even as it was released, and we're talking about seasonal content moving forward, it made me think that it was going to lean more into that MMO aspect, more into that story aspect, and less into the, well, we did this with Diablo 3 season, so we're just going to kind of do the same thing. And this feels closer to Diablo 3 than it does what we were sort of promised. So that's just my opinion.
All right. But I think at this point we are going to move on to talk about World of Warcraft a little bit. First up is going to be the Cataclysm Classic pre-patch is live today, I believe, as we're talking, the 30th of April.
Yes.
But they didn't put out the Elemental Unrest event, or at least if it hasn't started yet, if it is in the game. Is that correct?
Yeah, none of the pre-patch events went live when the pre-patch went live. At least none of the pre-patch events that we had in original Cataclysm. And this is a bit of a surprise, because previously pre-patches have really mirrored the original pre-patches with the same events. So the Cataclysm events did not go live, and hopefully they'll be going live in the near future, but yeah, it's a little confusing. Blizzard didn't announce they were coming with the pre-patch, but we kind of expected them to be there, and they are not.
Yeah, that's interesting, because I mean, I seem to recall them. They pretty much started relatively. They didn't delay them like they have with other events after Cataclysm. I remember them being right there. Like I just remember logging in. But then again, I mean, didn't they also do the? I want to say Mechagon and bloody heck, what are the Troll Islands called? Echo Isles?
Echo Islands.
Yeah, the starting zones. They created the Mechagon starting zone area for gnomes, and they let the trolls retake. You know, go defeat. I want to say Zalazane, but I don't think that's his name. Oh boy, it's been a long time since I did it, but you know what I'm talking about. The trolls reclaim the Echo Isles. The gnomes sort of half reclaim part of Mechagon. Because this is a dungeon, man. We don't want to lose the dungeon. Okay, yeah, fine. We can't take all of it. But I can't remember when that came out. Like, did that come out during the Cataclysm lead up, or did it come out like way after it? I honestly don't know.
Oh, that was before. That's already out in Classic.
So that's out now in Classic.
Yeah,
okay.
those events went live a few weeks ago.
So yeah, that would go along with it. Okay, all right. I don't know why.
Yeah, I mean, I figure they're delaying it a little bit, and they'll
have there been earthquakes?
No, I don't think so.
Because that's the thing they did first. Patch 3.3.0, which was on the 8th of December 2009, they did the earthquakes, and then in like a long time later, then they finally did the actual unrest with the elementals and so forth. So I'm interested to see how long it takes, if anything happens.
Yeah, I guess we just don't know when it's starting. I'm sure this is going to show up, but we don't have a start date for it. But the Cataclysm pre-patch is live with all of the exciting Cataclysm stuff you know and love.
Like item squish? Wasn't it item squish and new talent?
All of the new talent system, yeah, everything should be there. Yes.
The talent system that people didn't like so much that it led to Miss Pandaria's destruction of talents for several generations. I'm sorry. Every so often I think about this and I laugh.
I mean, you know, I'm sounding very dubious here, because Cataclysm came and it changed the game so much, and I was not having fun, and I quit the game until kind of mid Mists of Pandaria. So that's my experience with Cataclysm. But big changes in Classic. I hope you people who enjoy Classic are also interested in re-experiencing it in Cataclysm Classic.
Yeah, I mean, I'm hopeful you guys have a good time. I want people to have fun. I want them to enjoy the game. It doesn't have to be my thing. I think Joe said it best, though, in terms of how I'm approaching this, and that I did this.
Mm-hmm.
I did this all the way to the end. I was punching Deathwing in the face as hard as I could on like 2 different fights. I was running around, stepping on blood things and shooting lightning out of my butt onto them and running around and all that stuff. I did it. And I don't need to do it again. But for people who haven't, or for people who miss it, yeah, I want you guys to have a game you like to play. I don't get why I wouldn't. So yeah, I hopefully you get the good experience. I'm hoping what changes they make help contribute to that. I'm hoping they start Cataclysm with Transmog. Do you know if they're starting it with Transmog? Like, do you have Transmog on like Classic right now?
I do not know.
I have to go find that out tonight.
No, I think they are starting with Transmog, so they're not getting the full Cataclysm experience.
Yeah, they're getting a superior Cataclysm experience.
We were talking about it in Raid last night, actually, about how it was very much a WoW player boomer moment, I guess, where it's like, I did my time without Transmog, they should have to too.
No, I'm never going to be that guy. I'm always going to be no, make it better.
I mean, the worst time for life without Transmog was Burning Crusade. Remember the beginning of Burning Crusade when everyone went through and you got that kind of first round of starter gear in the starting zone? Everyone was wearing the same horribly mismatched outfit.
See, here's the thing. You all got that experience in Burning Crusade. I was a DPS warrior who off-tanked in vanilla. All my gear was bright pink or light white or green and purple and had bugs like coming out of it, and that's just what I wore. That's just me all the time. I was just wandering around looking like some kind of human insect transformer. So y'all coming to Burning Crusade with your my suit looks horrible, and I'm sitting going, I'm wearing giant bug butt shoulders. Do you understand this? They're not even the same size, so it's 2 different kinds of bug. I'm wearing bug. My helmet's a bug. My armor's all bugs. I'm wearing bugs. I'm sorry, but as Joe pointed out, I kind of have trauma here. I was wearing so many bugs. But yeah, I wanted to move on and talk about the trading post for May because, Transmog. And because I logged in,
oh my god, I have 150 points I got to finish before the end of the night.
Dude, you know how many I logged in recently and started playing again. Do you know how much tendies I had? How many tendies I had?
Yeah, I have an idea.
7,000.
What?
Okay, I wasn't going to expect that much.
7,000. I bought everything I wanted. I bought stuff I didn't even want. I bought the turtle. I didn't want the turtle. But I'm like, I got the tendies, and why leave him stranded here? So yeah, I bought the turtle. Even I bought everything that was even remotely going to be interesting to me. So yeah, and you know how much I've got left now? 4,000.
How much?
4,000 going into next month. So yeah, I'm not worrying about doing anything this month. I don't care. I don't care what happens. I'll tell you right now. The May Transmog stuff, a lot of it is a lot nicer looking than the April stuff, in my opinion. The Blades of Elune are back, and they are awesome. There's various other stuff. Go ahead.
The thing is, if you finish the trading post, you get a bonus reward, which for April was a duck wearing
which is why I have to finish it. I need to finish it.
No, the duck with a flower is amazing, and I wish I had been able to get to do that.
And in May, it's a pair of butterfly wings. So, I mean, you kind of, even if you have plenty of tendies, you kind of have to do the trading post, because how else are you going to get these rewards, which you clearly need?
See, this is where I wish we had cameras on our faces.
Yes.
Because you didn't see my face go empty as Billy Corgan went, "The world is a vampire." And all I could think of was like, yes, I must get the butterfly wings. I must.
Well, where am I going to find a bullet transmog?
Yeah. I don't know, man. Actually, wait a minute. What am I saying?
You're a warrior. You're all a bullet.
Yeah, there's like 3 or 4 of them. There's like nice shiny transmogs for you. I can help you out. I can hook you up. Come on in here. We'll show you the warrior transmogs. They all make you look like some kind of ridiculous Ginsu knife.
As is right and proper.
I still remember the day I was playing and I got my first drop of shoulders from Blackwing Lair, and I looked at them and I realized they were 2 axe blades on either side of my head. I'm like, for real? But yeah, that's a nice transmog option. Do you guys want to talk about stuff in particular you're interested in? Because if not, I'm going to start gushing about the Valyar Champion's Greatsword.
I've talked a lot. I'm going to let Liz take lead on this one.
I've been talking a lot. Matt, go.
Okay, there's a lot of stuff in here that's just unique to this one. I've not seen them before. I've never seen this model of sword, the Valyar Champion sword. I've never seen this in use. Like, period. There are no, as far as I can tell, there's nothing with this model. I've never seen it before, and that's great. I really like when they bring in stuff like this. I don't even remember this model from the big info dump way back in like 2008 when they were like, we didn't get these raids, so we didn't get these item looks. Because people don't know this, Utgard Pinnacle was supposed to be a raid.
Yeah.
Like, before they decided, no, we'll just put Naxxramas back in, there was going to be an Utgard Pinnacle raid, and I forget what the other raid was. There was another raid they were going to do. It might have been, it was Gundrak. It was going to be Utgard Pinnacle on the southern side of Northrend, and then all the way up in Zuldrak, it was going to be Gundrak. Those were the 2 that they were talking about. Mm-hmm. And as a result, there's like a ton of models that didn't enter the game because they had designed them for those raids, and then they brought Nax back, and Nax already had all of its models. They just put the same models on different items. So I'm really excited to see them bringing in stuff like this. Another one that they've got is the Paradise's Golden Axe, which
that looks so cool.
Yeah, this thing. I mean, it is a model that they've kind of had before, but not quite the same. It's not exactly the same, but it's got this really cool bird feather fire mount thing. I mean, it looks like
it's modeled after a Bird of Paradise flower.
Yeah, it's really cool. So it's one of those things that I could imagine being used by multiple people. Like, sure, warriors would probably use it, but you could totally use it on your shaman as a healing shaman. It would be appropriate because it does look like a flower. Mm-hmm. It is a really cool model. A lot of these models are really cool. A lot of them are like unique and distinctive in some way that I've not seen before. I don't know if the Ebony Crown of the Red Rose. Have you guys seen this before? Like,
it's a recolor. I forgot what it.
Yeah. I think it's one of the ones they used to sell, isn't it? Like, directly for real money?
Yes.
It looks similar to it, but it's nice, especially for Warlocks, I think. Warlocks and Death Knights, this thing looks like it would be really cool. I don't mean to like say that Warlocks and Death Knights have to look like they're, evil incarnate. I'm just saying that if you want that, you absolutely can do it. There's a nice dagger. There's a polearm, the lavish floral stalk. There's just a lot of, Mayday type stuff inspired here.
Can we also take a moment to appreciate that the flavor text on the Ebony Crown of the Red Rose is every night has its dawn.
Yeah.
And if you're old enough to understand that reference, I am sorry for your back.
Sad song. Yeah, I am old enough to recognize it, so yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I'm really looking forward to more transmog stuff. I mean, a lot of this stuff just looks good.
The Primeval Maul is boring. I'll just say straight up, it's not interesting. It's a model that we've had 100 times. It's just like a big bone on a stick. But that's like one of the few that doesn't interest me.
I think we should maybe move on from the transmog stuff because there's still plenty of stuff for us to cover. But needless to say, I think you should go take a moment and look at it's posted on. We have them on our website, and we have it. It's definitely posted on Blizzard's site as well.
Is this B the available mount, or is it? No, it's the available pet. Buzzworth.
It's the pet.
Yes.
Buzzworth is coming back. There are 2 mounts.
I gotta mention Buzzworth because he is so cute. He is a very cute little bee. Yeah, just straight up. I thought it was going to be a mount, and I was like super excited. But then I'm like,
the Royal Swarmer mount. There is a bee mount. It's the Royal Swarmer mount, and then there's the skittering something or other, which looks like it's the water mount but flying.
So yeah, but Joe wants us to move on, and who am I to argue with him? Well, I mean, I do that like almost every Sunday, I guess, fairly often, but nevertheless.
Apparently, only when we talk about Jaina as the Lich Queen.
Yeah, but there's a bunch of other stuff to talk about. the Awakened raid this week is Aberrus, which is like, oh man, I wish I had a raid to go to. I'd love to get to go to Aberrus. But the last hurrah quest is, you're doing research under fire, the Fyr'alath World event. That's also happening, and a time rift. And go ahead, Liz. I keep hearing you wind up. So,
I mean, so with the Awakened raids, I mean, there is the raid every week, but there is also the weekly quest is the last hurrah, which is kind of, it's your Dragonflight victory lap, where it's sending you back to do previous events. So yeah, this week to finish it, you need to do Researchers Under Fire, you need to do the Fyr'alath event, and you need to do a Time Rift. So, and also all of the stuff in Zaralek Cavern is going to be awakened, so you're going to get extra, higher eye level loot from all of these things. And so, yes, it's great. And also with Darkmoon Fair will be starting this weekend, so if you're still one of those people like me who needs Niffin rep, this is your week. This is your week. Collect great rewards and reputation. And Blizzard changed how the weekly quests in Dragonflight worked when Season 4 launched last week. So the usual weekly quest has been replaced with this last hurrah, which awards high-level, awakened level loot. You don't get the rep tokens we're used to getting, but you do get great loot, and they're honestly really easy to do. You need to do 3 events, and that's it. That's it!
And you mentioned that there's rotation for Awakened raids. Is Awakened raids tend to boost the zone that they're in, and usually we'll probably get the last hurrah quest for that zone as well.
Yes, they all match. Right. So last week we had Vault of the Incarnates, and all of the world events were in the standard Dragon Isles. So you had my mind just went completely blank there, but with that, you had world quests in kind of the basic zones that were awarding higher level gear. So yeah, it's just a general boost. It's if you want to level an alt, if you want to gear up an alt, this is a great time. You can hit LFR, and the Awakened LFR raid, okay, it does have a higher eye level requirement than standard LFR, but you can go in there and get increased eye level loot. And also, once a week, you can get an antique bronze bullion, which you can use to buy gear that you can upgrade or transmog, or both. You could buy weapons that you can use and are very effective and high level, but are also appearances you have not gotten yet. So I like all of those things.
We should actually talk about, since you mentioned that, there's a bug with a couple items that can't be upgraded properly. And they're both legendaries.
Yes, I have heard a lot of sad people talking about this one.
They are working on a fix, though.
Yes, they are. They are working on a fix. So if you are one of the lucky people who has gotten a Fyr'alath or a Nizuro, I can't say that. Anyway, if you've gotten either of the legendaries this expansion, and you've gotten your 2 antique bronze bullion from last week and 1 from this week, then you can go and buy an upgrade token for your legendary, so it continues to be relevant. I think that's pretty cool, because you can keep using that legendary instead of it getting outdated by, the new stuff in Awakened raids this tier. But once you upgrade it, you can only then upgrade it, the upgrade track. You can only go to 4 of 14 on the Awakened upgrade track. And then it's just like, no, you're not eligible for any more upgrades. Blizzard has said this is a bug. They're fixing it, but they have also said the fix is going to take some time to implement. I don't know what that means, but it probably means it's not getting fixed tomorrow.
It sounds like it's something they can't just hot fix, that they have to actually push on a slate update. So we're probably not going to see it until Tuesday at the earliest. Yeah.
So I wonder if we're waiting for Tuesday. I'm sorry, all of you people who have put so much hard work into getting these legendaries, but you will be able to continue upgrading them eventually.
But also the half-price sockets, which are now costing 3 aspects token of merit.
I am really excited about this one because my vault this week was very terrible. So if you have no idea what we're talking about here,
it's the Great Vault, guys.
Yeah, it's the Great Vault. If you unlock gear in the Great Vault, you can take the gear, or you say, I don't want any of that gear. Give me these tokens.
Disappointment box. Sorry.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like it's the first week of a new season, and everything in my vault is an item level upgrade, but also it's so bad.
Do you guys remember UHF? The movie?
Yeah. Yes. I mean,
absolutely nothing.
I literally just made a Stanley Spadowski reference on our last D&D game recording, which hopefully will come up at some point relatively soon here.
But yeah, I just imagine going like nothing, absolutely nothing, as you take
You're stupid.
Yeah. But yeah, that's how it always felt. It always felt bad. So I'm glad they're going to make it easier to get something useful.
Of course, the problem is still that you're gonna you say, okay, I don't want any of this gear. You get some coins. You can buy items that give you sockets. They only cost 3 coins instead of 6 coins. That means you can get a maximum of 2 of them per week, potentially. But also, there's only so much gear you can put sockets on. So eventually that will stop being useful. But right now, beginning of the season, it's nice if you get a disappointment box that is extremely disappointing, like I have this week. You can say, okay, well, I can socket 2 new pieces of gear, and that is pretty great.
I didn't actually know the Northrend Cup was still going. I'll straight up admit.
No, it's brand new. It just started today.
Yeah, but it's okay. There were other ones though, right? Like there was the one.
We've been kind of doing a round robin of races, and now dragon riding races are coming to Northrend.
This one's
the Northrend Cup.
Like this one's all like for the a week in May or.
It's now live and it's going through. Do I have that date right?
It says 5/6 in your thing, but I don't know if that's the case. I was thinking that's short, just a week.
No, it's actually 5/13. Sorry, it's 2 weeks long.
Okay, yeah, that makes more sense.
So, and it seems to have a blue tinted Dragon Rider transmog. So I think it has I think we've got a new transmog to collect. So I'm gonna have to go out there and give it a try, even though I am very, very bad at dragon racing.
I believe in you, Liz.
Yes, I do, because you're manifestly real. I've spoken to you. I have plenty of evidence.
I have met Liz in real life. I know, unless I'm hallucinating when I met Liz.
I mean, that's the problem, isn't it? Like, ultimately, all of our senses could be a deception, and, cogito ergo sum, all that. But anyway.
What is the simulation we live in? Yeah.
What is love? Baby, don't hurt me. Don't hurt me no more. But now that we've covered all that stuff, I don't think the Children's Week thing, we're not gonna mention it, because it's nothing new.
There's the Children's Week is a thing. It's live. There's nothing new. It's very short. It only lasts a week. But it is a really good way to get Trader's Tender. So if you need that, go do it.
Yep. So now we're going to take a couple of questions. We got a couple this week. If you've got a question for the site or the show, more importantly to me at this particular moment, because that's what I'm doing, is if we're doing a show, you can send an email to podcast@blizzardwatch.com with the subject line podcast of Blizzard Watch, so we know it's for this show. You guys sent in a Lore Watch question, and I didn't steal it. So I respected the rule, even though it meant one less question for me.
This is pity because I was sick, isn't it?
No. I feel no pity. I pity no one. A real story I'm going to tell really quickly. The other day somebody came to our door, like they actually rang our doorbell and were trying to pitch us like a charity drive thing. And my wife was sitting there listening to them talk, and the woman started going super fast and sounding very nervous while the guy was just not looking at me. He just was looking anywhere but at me. As they left, I turned to my wife and goes, did I do something? She's like, you looked like you were going to eat them. So apparently I had resting "I'll kill you all" face. I did not know I was doing it. Like I was like, wow, what was that problem? You maniac. So yeah, I know no pity. I feel nothing but various barbarian / warrior approved emotions that allow one to hit things with axes, I guess. Anyway, though, you can also send us questions on our Discord. We've got 2 channels for that. We've got for non-patron supporters. We still want your questions and your support because we love you. And also, everything you do does still help. If you give us a like on YouTube, if you tell your friends about us, if you rent a plane and skywrite it. I mean, I'm not saying do that. I'm just saying if you do that, that is still support, and we still appreciate it. But if you are a patron and supporter as well, we do also have the Patreon Q and Podcast Questions channel because, you guys help us. We had a whole thing at the beginning of the show about how we're trying to keep an even keel and keep the show going. So yeah, you help us do that. So like I said, we got 2 questions this week, and I'm going to say I'm a loopy enough that I'm going to ask you guys to read them. So
Whoa.
Joe, if you don't mind, pick one
Sure.
and go.
As we near the end of Dragonflight, I've been thinking about some loose threads that didn't pay off. First, in the bronze leveling zone, when helping Seer Zarathel close portals, we close 3. The third one has a guy pop out dressed in something like the Shadowlands pre-order gear, and he says something like, "Wait, the Time Walkers are here?" Did we ever find out who he is and what his story is? Next, was there any reason for the rock formations near the Dragon World boss in the Azure Span that look like old gods? Or was that just a coincidence? Did these get answered and I missed it? What other loose threads remain? Do we think they'll be answered in the World Soul Saga, or is it just flavor coloring in the background vibe of the world? And this is from Patrick, like the Starfish or the Saint. So this might be a little more lore watch, so Matt may have lied to me.
He put it right in the thing that it was for this podcast.
I know. I don't know that we really got anything more than that the Time Walkers were essentially like wardens of the Timeways, or the ones that went through, like if you finish the entire story arc of the Bronze Dragonflight and the stuff with the Infinite Dragonflight as well, you go through the campaign, it does essentially explain that they were like the ones that went into the discordant Timeways to try to essentially wrangle them back together. And at some point, many of them got lost. And when we go to close that third portal, one of them pops back, which then leads Norsdoma to realize, oh, I could get the other ones back. Let's do that. This is a really good idea. And then they come back and they help us do the stuff with cleaning up, the area, and then going and dealing with the Infinite Dragonflight. It's all part of how Norsdoma got his groove back. So there is actual like story stuff for that. As far as the rocks looking like old gaudy type things, I think that's just vibes, man. Because a lot of that area in the Azure Span is just like a really weird ethereal aesthetic. Like I was thinking about this the other day as I was kind of zooming through it with my dragon riding, and then I stopped and I landed and I got onto a regular route and just kind of like started slow flying around. And maybe I recommend people do this because there's a very distinct like tonal shift in it, but there's this really constant undercurrent of just like something is off. And like, yes, there's areas where there's very clear like elemental devastation, which we don't know how much of that is the Primalists and how much of that was from the blue dragons going haywire. There's little pockets with like the ley line caves and everything else, but there's always just something off about the zone. Even when you're just hanging with the Tuskar, it's got that same ethereal vibe of like the Tuskar in the north. When you go to Northrend and you see them and they have that sort of like almost like spoopy kind of like thing going on. There's elements of that all over the place. And you see that where there's like, you summon spirits of Tuskar and you summon like rot spirits and you fight rot spirits and the whole zone is off. And so I think, and I think it's just part of the vibes. It could very well maybe a tie-in with the old god type stuff because of the whole decay, which is one of the aspects that we did see with the old gods. But I think it's more likely just hanging out with the spooky vibes of the zone.
However, that does kind of make me think of something that they didn't really explore or explain very much.
There's a lot of that.
There is the actual weird rot thing happening with the Nulls. Why are they doing that? Where did they get the idea to do that? Is it related to the War Within and the Old Gods, or is it something else? Is there a new rot species in town? I
think the implication that is that Xalatath may have had a hand in that.
Yeah, the implication, but they did not actually say it yet. Keep in mind that the problem with stuff, if it's a loose thread, well, we do have another expansion coming that might tie it up. We don't know.
Man, I got a podcast where we can talk about that.
Yeah, if only we had a podcast where we talked about game lore. Liz?
The other thing about loose threads is we do have one tiny patch that could tie some of them up or tie them into the next expansion, which is 10.2.7 is going to come out with the Harbinger quests. And we may see I expect to see some old gaudy stuff. So if there are any old god ties here, we might see them carried forward in some way. But, I'm not a lore expert like these guys. I'm just guessing, but that's what it sounds like. We may get a few more answers.
Now I'm imagining you as like an editor of a 1940s newspaper. I want lore speculation. See,
give me pictures of lore speculation.
Yeah, that reminds me of the time that I looked up. My wife likes to give my dog carrots, and every time my dog gets a carrot in her mouth, she's immediately got part of it coming out the side, and it totally looks like my dog is demanding pictures of Spider-Man, like every time, because she's got the little fluffy hair. It just looks like J. Jonah Jameson has been come back in dog form, which would be much nicer. I knew I would stop the podcast somehow. But yeah, I wanted to say, there's also stuff like Aonormu.
The Infinite Dragonflight stuff isn't all buttoned up too, by the way.
Yeah, no, it's not. It's a kind of like, some of the Infinite Dragonflight are like willing to talk, and some of them are like, no, he's got to turn into, Murozond. And now they're fighting. So that's interesting to me. I want to see where that goes. There's a lot of stuff that I'd love to see them cover, but are you done with this one, you guys think?
Yeah, well, I'm trying to think if there's any other loose threads that I really want to call out, because nothing, not everything really did get tied up. Like the stuff with Sylvanas is still out there, which got touched on a little bit at the end.
Didn't she send a letter or something?
Yes, she sends a letter. She sends a letter essentially to Belamath. But you have, that's also like, Belamath is not an ending. It's sort of like the crescendo before the epilogue or whatever. Like it happened and we tied up some things, but now it opened up and introduced a whole bunch of other threads. Matt and I have talked about this in the past on Lore Watch about why we basically feel that there can be an entire elf expansion and how you can write an entire story just from what's been done right now that still hasn't been resolved. So there's a lot of loose threads that will probably come to fruition. If anything isn't a good indicator, three expansions from now, we'll start talking about it. It'll be fine.
Okay. Then I guess we'll turn to Liz. Do you mind reading the next one, which is the only other one we have?
Sure. Question for Blizzard Watch. There seems to be some confusion around the world event changes with the start of Season 4 this week. The 3 events in the spotlight seem to reward a new chest of storms with current eye-level rewards. We did kind of talk about this a minute ago. Along with the Dream Surge weekly quest, however, the Dream Surge vendors are no longer available, even though we still receive the Cocoon currency. Not sure if the same is true for the Super Bloom. The rewards from the Suffusion camps seem to have transitioned correctly to Season 4 levels. Was there anything published by Blizzard to set our expectations? This one definitely came as a surprise to me, how they changed the weekly quest. Did either of y'all realize that the weekly quest was changing before it went live?
Nope.
I didn't know until you just told me. I've been playing WoW very sporadically. I have been playing it again, but it's like, yes, I'm playing WoW, but I'm also still playing Diablo 3 and 4. And I'm looking into Diablo Immortal every so often. And of course, I'm also playing, Baldur's Gate 3, and I'm playing Kings of Amalur Re-Reckoning. And, it's like, and none of these get played as much as I would like them to. Like, I really can only play an hour or two a day. So it's like, which game this week? Like, which game today? So yeah.
I didn't realize this until it was live, that these quests were changing. I'm not aware of changes to the currency. Maybe there are some, but it does make the world a little weird because the Awakened raid for the week, the content that's available that has Awakened level rewards kind of follows the raid around. So it's going to be different every week. So yeah, this week is like Zaralek week, Aberrus week, but next week we're going back to the Emerald Dream. It's going to be Emerald Dream week. We're going back to Amir Drasil and the Emerald Dream, and all of that's going to be Awakened. So, I mean, we're kind of on a rotation, which we aren't used to. We've had the old world quest system for so long that, it's new, it's scary, it's strange. But I think it's good. It's giving good rewards, and it's not hard to complete. What is y'all's experience with this new quest system?
You telling me about it, me going, oh, I got to get me some of that. That's what I'm doing. I was like, oh, I can do all that. Oh, I definitely need those upgrades because my gear is atrocious. That's what happens when you don't play for 6 months. You get a lot of attendees, so that's great. But then you also you're wearing the equivalent of cardboard. I was actually pleasantly surprised though that the World Quest stuff didn't destroy me. Like I didn't get my face ripped off by anything. It feels like they've definitely tuned it to like somebody who's wearing like, basket weaving like I am. So that was nice. Joe, you're up.
I mean, again, I didn't really pay much attention to it until now, and now I'm in the same boat of like I've been so focused on the Awakened raids that I really didn't pay attention to world questing. Not gonna lie, like I'm not even gonna front.
There are some good rewards out there. Like someone in guild chat was in our guild chat earlier was like, y'all are getting loot, and I'm like, there is so much loot out there. Yeah, I'm wearing heroic level gear, and I've got Dragon Isles world quests. I've got the world bosses in the Dragon Isles are giving me better loot than what I am wearing, and the weekly quest better loot than what I'm wearing. Time walking last week better loot than what I'm wearing. So I've gotten a lot of upgrades, incremental upgrades, but still upgrades. And then you can upgrade those upgrades, and you can convert those upgrades to tier. And it's like I'm kind of swimming in gear, some of which I can't wear because of tier set bonuses. But it's a lot. It's a lot.
In general, I will say that I'm always for catch-up mechanics at the end of the expansion. One of the things I loved about Battle for Azeroth of all expansions was that the end of the expansion, the period of time where we were like basically just mopping up in Nyalotha, was a great time for me to get alts, geared up. Like you could get your alts pretty close to like, okay, I had one raiding character and that raiding character had raid level gear, but then my alts were all good enough to come to raids because the catch-up mechanics were good enough that you could get gear to slip into that. I'm looking forward to getting to play around with it more as I get to play WoW more, because I do want to do that. I'm just waiting for tomorrow so I can log on and immediately just buy me up every single thing on the trading post that I want. Frankly, that's the thing I'm most looking forward to doing. But then I'll probably at least try to do some of the world events, especially since I haven't gotten to see Zaralek Cavern. I've never even done it.
I this is my opportunity because when I was able to like do Zaralek Cavern the first time around, I got real busy at work and I missed a bunch of the there's a lot of group content in Zaralek Caverns, and by the time I got to it, nobody was doing it anymore already, which was like a week after it released. So now I can actually go and do some of the stuff that I didn't get a chance to do because people will be there.
Always cool.
I'm excited.
Of course. I do have to say the Researchers Under Fire event in Zaralek Cavern is still extremely flaky and buggy, so enjoy. And apparently the world bosses in Zaralek also still kind of flaky, so also enjoy that.
Yeah, I'm sure I won't.
But it's a genuine, authentic launch day kind of experience because they've always been a little flaky. Still a little flaky.
But yeah, I guess basically that's it for us, guys. That's all the questions we got. We're a little technically it's like 3 or so minutes left in show, but I don't think pushing that's going to serve anything. I don't have any other questions. So I guess we just close up unless you guys have anything else you want to talk about. Did we miss anything?
Now I'm wondering because usually we run out of time. Yeah. So it's like, what didn't we talk about? I don't know.
We talked about a lot of things. So
we didn't. Joe, have you played the new Overwatch event, the new Mirror Watch event?
No, I haven't. I literally just downloaded everything, but I've been so busy trying to catch up on like Season 4 stuff and obviously I have to go finish my 10D stuff tonight so I don't miss out on my little duck friend because I must rescue the duck because I missed almost 2 weeks from being sick, so like I haven't done anything.
Oh gosh.
See, that's the thing. Mirror Watch I love conceptually. I think it's actually a really cool thing that they're doing it.
Well, yeah, because I mean, let's be honest, the Mirrorverse Trek episodes were the best.
Yeah, I mean,
so it is. I mean, it is essentially a Mirrorverse event for Overwatch 2, and it's available until May 13th. But yes, I think none of us have gotten a chance to play it because there were too many games, and I really want to be playing Fallout 4, but also I have a Cyberpunk 2077 playthrough, and also I still haven't finished Baldur's Gate 3, and also it's Dragonflight Season 4, and I'm trying really hard to keep up with my raid and not suck. So there's a lot to do. Oh, and also I still need to get Tyvan working on it. And also, WoW Remix Mists of Pandaria starts in a couple of weeks. Also, Diablo 4 Season 4 starts in a couple of weeks, and I need to go back and make sure I finished my Season 3 Battle Pass so I can get the transmogs on it, because otherwise I might miss out, and then I would be really sad in the future. But, how are we supposed to do all of these things at the same time?
We're not. We're just supposed to go mad. And we have.
Yeah, I mean, that's pretty much the thing. But
I gotta say this, though. I do love this. I love Talon Brigitte.
Mm-hmm.
I just love the idea of Talon Brigitte. It's chef's kiss. I would love it if they have agonizers. I straight up would love it if they have agonizers in the Mirrorverse. They just punish people with the agonizer. One of my favorite bits from that episode. Anyway, what I'm ranting about is Star Trek. Sorry, guys. Wrong thing. We should be talking about other things. But yeah, I guess at this point, yeah. Either you guys have any final things to say before Joe does his thing? Like, Liz, maybe you should talk about the thing we talked about this start of the show again.
Yes, we are. Just a reminder, we are doing a Patreon pledge drive this month. And if you could help us out, if you can afford to help us out, our goal is to get to $5,000, which is, I mean, that's kind of the level where everything is good. We don't need to worry about budget. And I don't need to be too prickly about post counts and how much people are writing. And we have, enough money to like put a little aside to make sure we're covering payroll and all of those things. Make sure the site is healthy, everyone's getting paid, and that makes everyone happy. So if you can afford it, please support us on Patreon. We appreciate it. If you can't afford it, subscribe,
right, all
the site.
Yeah, definitely read the site.
It all helps. Just send us some moral support, because that also helps, because we're writers and inherently kind of insecure and neurotic.
I'm not insecure, I just know I'm terrible.
I think that's possibly insecure.
Nah. I'm all right. It's only insecurity if you're not right, and I'm right.
You're pretty great. I'm sorry to be the one to tell you this.
That's okay. I've just fooled you with my magic powers. Joe.
Time to do the thing! For this moment, I have been made. Blizzard Watch is made possible due to the generous contributions at patreon.com/BlizzardWatch. Your continued support means that this podcast site and community is able to thrive and grow. Blizzard Watch supporters enjoy exclusive benefits like early access to the podcast, better chance at having your question answered on our podcast with a queue, and an ads-free site experience.
Thank you very much, Joe, and thank you to Liz for the kind words before Joe talked. And if you have something you want us to know about, a question, or just a statement, you can contact us via email, podcast@blizzardwatch.com, subject line podcast to Blizzard Watch, so we know it's for the show. Or you can go to our 2 Discord channels, the Q and podcast questions channel for non-patrons, because you guys, you're just as important to us, or the Patreon Q and podcast questions channels, because you guys give us money and we kind of really need it. So, yeah, go ahead.
Patreon.com/BlizzardWatch. If you can afford to toss any support our way, we appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you. Please, sir, may we have some more? This has been the Blizzard Watch Podcast. Thank you guys so much for being here with us, and we will be back next week.